The passing of former Secretary of State Colin Powell surprised us all this morning. For more reaction, I want to welcome in Florida Congressman and member of the House Armed Services Committee, as well as the first Green Beret to serve in Congress. Congressman Michael Waltz is with us. Congressman, I know that you basically came up in the Army when Colin Powell was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So you have a direct connection to this four-star general. Really, he lived quite a life. But tell us about that.
Well, all of us as young soldiers remember him standing before the podium in the first Gulf War, along with then Dick Cheney was Secretary of Defense, Colin Powell as the chairman, Norman Schwarzkopf was out there as the field general, and then General Powell as the first African-American chairman, really reflected that steely, calm, strategic foresight, a cerebral thinker. While you had the field general out there kind of, kicking butts and taking names and knocking Saddam out of Kuwait. And all of us as young soldiers at the time admired his leadership, admired his steadfastness and thoughtfulness, and how he guided the country through the largest conflict since the Vietnam War, and really showed the world that America was back. And that America was not going to let its energy security be put at risk by a two-bit dictator.
Congressman, as happens in live television sometimes, when things change, we have to go with it. This news shocking us all this morning. Very sad news, 84 years old, to lose the former Secretary of State, Colin Powell here. You were on to talk about the Haqqani network, and I do want to get to that because I think that's very important. But I have a question for you. Here's somebody that was the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and former Secretary of State. We are just coming off this botched Afghan withdrawal. If the shoe were on the other foot and all things were equal, do you think things would be handled the same way if Colin Powell was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and not General Milley?
I'm not so sure it would, to be honest with you, because it's becoming increasingly clear that Biden had made his mind up as he came into the presidency. He really had a chip on his shoulder with the military and with the Pentagon from when he was vice president, and felt like the Pentagon had boxed Obama in to the surge back then. So I think it's become clear that Biden wasn't listening to his generals, wasn't listening to Milley, who advised that we leave a small force there to keep a lid on terrorism and to stiffen the spine of the Afghan army. He wasn't listening to them. He certainly isn't listening to his intelligence agencies, who are saying that al-Qaeda will come back and will hit the United States again if given the chance. So I don't know who Biden's listened to, but I think ultimately it's just himself.
And we know that Americans were flown out yesterday, a flight of about 300 people flown out of Afghanistan. Congressman, you are on the House Armed Services Committee. I heard an interesting quote that you gave when it came to the Haqqani network. You said it's the most dangerous terrorist group that you've never heard of, and they have the blood of hundreds of Americans on their hands right now. The Haqqani network, to me, it sounds like ISIS-K. I think in the minds of many Americans, they just don't know what it is. So what is the Haqqani network? Could you tell us just basically who they are?
Yeah, well, they've been around since the 1970s and 80s and fighting off the Soviets. But it's important to understand the founder of the Haqqani network was Osama bin Laden's mentor. And his son, Siraj Haqqani, now runs the network. And this guy is the worst of the worst. He's like a Charles Manson combined with a John Gotti, or a mafia leader. And why they're so deadly is because they make a lot of money through illicit means, through counterfeit rings, stolen cars, drugs, human trafficking, you name it. And they really have formed part of the backbone of the Taliban. They're the link to al-Qaeda. And they fully intend to empower those. They're the kind of behind the scenes group. But at the end of the day, this guy's in charge of Kabul right now. He's in the Taliban's cabinet. And this notion that Biden is putting out, that there's kind of good terrorists that we can deal with against the bad terrorists, is a bunch of garbage.
Let me, just about 15 seconds, this guy Siraj Haqqani, that's a name I've heard before, worse than Osama bin Laden, wrote the playbook for international terrorism. Why? We've been after him for a long time. Where are special forces on this? Why haven't they gotten him?
We've tried to go after him because he's very clever, he's very smart. He would hide in Pakistan where we couldn't get at him. The guy's a survivor. The dumb ones are dead. We got those. But the smart and clever ones are alive and well and fully intend to attack the West again if they get a chance.
All right, Congressman Michael Waltz, thanks so much for coming on with us. We appreciate the update and your personal story with regard to the Secretary of State, Colin Powell, dead this morning from COVID complications at the age of 84. Congressman, come back and see us. Good to see you.